It made me really moist. I'm always moist behind the driver's wheel.
I'm only moist when Hanshaw's behind the wheel.
The show starts now.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to the Three Wide Racing Podcast Show, brought to you in part by none other than Wide TV and R.K. Productions. Relive some of last week's racing action and get prepared for this week's races with the host of your Three Wide Racing drivers and owners. I'm your host tonight, Kyle Hanshaw. Alongside me for this week's show is Johnny Thomas, Michael Whitley, Cameron Rich, Peter Short, Jordan Teal, and Carlos Acosta is up in the control booth. Let's start with our weekend review. Michael Whitley, start us off.
Well, going back to a couple weeks ago in the road course series or the road course race, that could have went 1,000 times better. But looking forward to the truck race on dirt at Eldora, slinging these heavy ass trucks around on slick dirt. Wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Made it through the heat race. I think I finished P6 in the heat race. Transferred to the main and had a solid, I think 7th or 8th coming to the white flag and went across Todd Smith's bumper and spun out and ended up finishing P10. But overall, not a bad race for myself. Both me and Eric Mickey, my team owner, both finished in the top 10. So not a bad week.
Johnny.
Yeah, well, my week. What happened last week? We were at road courses. Road courses 2 weeks ago. Road course last week. I expect to finish 10th to 15th every time I go out in them places. But this week we went to dirt and had fun. Got the win. I'm pumped about that. I haven't won a points race in forever, so it was nice to get a win. I'm racking up some money though. I won that Clash race and I won a Dash for Cash, so I'm probably earned more money than I did last year already at this point. So happy about that. And Five Flags finished 8th. I'm sure we'll talk more about both them races. So it was a good week. Happy to get back in victory lane. What do you guys say, Peter?
Yeah, going back a couple weeks, we had the race at Bathurst, and it was my first race back, coming back from New Zealand. Didn't have all too much practice time. Started, I think, in the summer in the top 5, and got kind of shuffled back at the beginning, made some really good moves, worked my way up to 3rd, and I think Jonathan DeCusher and Cameron Rich were the class of the field. And I couldn't quite catch up to Cameron, but I was really, really impressed with the way everyone raced at Bathurst. Bathurst is not an easy track, and it was really cool to see everyone have a good race there. Road America, that race was really good for me. Had a really tough first stint. Kind of lost some time on Cameron, but was able to catch him during the second stint and took the lead in the third and final stint, and was able to get the win there, so that was pretty cool. And then this past weekend, had a really awesome heat race at Eldora in the trucks. Got spun on the first lap, went all the way to the back, worked my way up, and actually won the heat. And then in the race, kind of just did a slide job on Todd, and when I got up in front of him, he kind of had nowhere to go and kind of clipped me in the left rear and spun me around, and then I took out Kurt Crum by accident. Sorry, Kurt. So didn't have a good finish at Eldora in the main, but tried to make up for that last night. Finished 5th and had a pretty good race. Couldn't quite catch up with Cameron. Cameron was on a rail in that 17. So all in all, a decent weekend for us in the 22, and we're looking forward to next week.
Cam.
I thought Bathurst was pretty awesome, but I might be a little bit biased. Peter he had the last lap a couple weeks later though at Road America, so that was different. Last night, Five Flags, my home track. I really wanted to win that race, so I put everything I had into it, and luckily I was able to get it done.
And Jordan.
Well, my Bathurst race went a lot better than I was expecting. It's such a tough course. I was mainly focused on staying out of everyone else and trying to stay off the walls. And I think I finished 6th or something like that. And then at Road America, I was pretty optimistic going into it based on how Bathurst went. And spun a few times. I think I brought it back in the top 10, which is my best cup finish to that point. Dirt did not go well for me at all. Didn't make it through the heat race. Just wasn't ever comfortable throughout the whole weekend, which really showed in the heat race. Just wasn't comfortable racing side by side, and then couldn't make a evasive maneuver when a car was spun out in front of me, and got collected in that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, sorry about that. Glad you were able to finish your heat, make it to the main. Basically, I was side by side, and as soon as I saw you, I hit the brakes, but you know how dirt is. You just slide everywhere. And I couldn't figure out how to get the car to go right. It just kept spinning to the left. Then the race last night in Cup at Five Flags went pretty well for me. Very fortunate at the timing of yellow flags, but I'm sure we'll get into that later. But all in all, not too shabby compared to how the year started out.
Well, going back to the road course race on the trucks side, I did not do that race. Not too good on the road courses. Some I can handle, but just didn't feel like doing that race. And then we went to dirt in the trucks this past weekend. I was pretty pumped about this race. I'm the dirt guy in the league, I guess. The heat race started 10th and worked my way up into the lead. I guess Paul hit the cushion coming out of 4 and messed his line all up, and he ended up hitting the inside wall, so I got the lead there and led a lot of laps in that. And then I actually did the same thing he did. That cushion was brutal in the heat race, especially in the second heat. But we qualified second and then got the lead early and led almost up until halfway, and I chose the wrong lane to go in on a restart. I should have chose the outside and tried to slide up in front of my boy Johnny Thomas, but I was going to put him in the wall, so I just kind of backed off of it and let him by.
I was already in the wall.
Oh, were you? I just thought you got up into the cushion, but we were going to wreck if I stayed in the gas, so let him by, and then got caught up in a accident on a restart after that, and worked my way back up to 5th after that restart, and then just got finished off late in the race, and we ended up like 14th. Thank you, Whitley. No hard feelings though. It's all right. And but it wasn't the result I wanted for that race, but we'll get them in the dirt races to come. And for Five Flags, was kind of looking forward to this race. I love the short tracks. We hung around P10, P12 all night, and then just the car kind of went away on the long runs. I wasn't expecting those long runs, especially at the short track, but everybody did a decent job racing that night, and I think we came in like 18th, but got caught up in a little wreck coming off of 4. I pushed up the track into Rusty Webb and collected him and kind of ruined his night. I apologize to him about that, but yeah, we'll move on, and yeah, that's it. So we'll move into our second segment of the show, which is the spot on, spot off discussions. First one up is the road course racing, success or not. Whoever wants to start us off, go ahead.
I guess I'll start off. So I'm someone who absolutely loves the road courses. I enjoy them. I've raced a lot of them. I've raced GT3s in iRacing. I've raced open wheels in iRacing on road course. So I've done a lot of them. In fact, for about 4 years, I only did road courses on iRacing. So, going to a road course race last year here at 3 Wide, I felt like the field was pretty spread out. But one thing I've noticed this year, that I think the league is getting better at road courses. I thought that Road America was very good. I thought there was some decent competition up near the front. I mean, you look back 2 years ago to some of the road course results. I think Drew won a race by 47 seconds or something like that in Canada. And this year, definitely not that way. So I think the league's getting better at them. And I know some people don't like them because they're different than what we typically do. I don't think we need more on the schedule. Personally, I think we have a good amount just to, appease everyone. But the league is getting better at them. I think Bathurst also speaks to that. I thought Bathurst, was going to be a terrible race with a big wreck and a whole bunch of cars dropping out, but most of the field finished. And that was a surprise to me. So I love road course races. I advocate for them, but I don't think we need any more on the schedule.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite side of that one. I hate going right and going left. I love watching road course racing. I mean, whatever it is, whoever's running, whatever's running, road course racing I think is some of the best racing. But I don't have a grasp on it. I can't get a handle on it. I'm better at some tracks, like I mean Watkins Glen, stuff like that. I can hold my own on, but just never been much on it in anything across any league I've ever ran. I've never been able to really handle a road course race, and but overall, I mean, looking at Bathurst, that race went a million times better than I thought. I thought for sure there was going to be death and carnage absolutely everywhere, and the race was actually good. It actually, I mean, there were battles throughout the field. There were battles with the fast guys. There were battles with the slow guys. So it was actually overall a great race, and it's looking forward to the next one, which I believe is Lime Rock. So, from somebody that hates road course racing, I'm looking forward to the next one.
Well, I'm split on the issue. I love road course racing. It's you know, me and Peter both, we love it. As far as the league goes, I know not a lot of people are fans of it. So I think if a lot of people aren't having fun with them, then they either I don't know. But I think we need a couple on the schedule just because I think our truck schedule is really awesome. Like how many leagues can say they go from Bathurst to Eldora? That's pretty dope. I think we kind of have a special issue with the Cup car on them because that car is definitely not designed to turn right. Kind of has no downforce. It doesn't really do anything particularly well. It just kind of goes fast in a straight line, and brakes are kind of like marshmallows, and they don't really stop. I think that was kind of an issue at Road America. We were hauling ass at the end of the straight. It's like 190-ish, and trying to stop that thing is really, really tough. So I don't know. I think at least for the Cup car, I think it belongs on certain road courses. Like I think Watkins Glen is a perfect fit for the Cup car. I don't think Road America was the best fit for it. But Bathurst and the trucks, that was pretty awesome. I think that was a lot better race than most people were expecting.
For me, I'm kind of on Whitley and Hanshaw's side. I don't like dirt, or I don't like road course races that much. But to have a complete league, I think you need them in there. I complain about them, but I'll do them. The stock cars are tough on these road courses. I'm pretty good on the Corvette side, and IndyCar. I'm pretty good at these road courses, but for some reason the stock cars, I just don't have enough practice with them. I can run top 10 at Watkins Glen, but that's about it. But if I'm going to sit here and complain about road course races, I know some people's going to complain about dirt races, and I love dirt races, so I can't be on one side or the other because you got to have both of them. We got 5 road course races altogether in the Truck Series and the Cup Series combined. I think that's a pretty fair number. Well, only 2 races in the Cup side are road course races, so I can live with those. I just won't be as successful in them. But is it a good product? I don't know. I don't know if it's a good product because only 4 or 5 guys are competitive, and the gap between first to 10th is pretty large. But I definitely think you need a couple in there.
As far as for me on the road courses, I do like them. I'm not by any means Peter Cameron's level. I tend to make quite a few mistakes going off track and stuff, so it's all about, for me, trying to minimize that. I was really impressed with how the truck handled at Bathurst. I was expecting it to be a little bit more of a handful, kind of like how the Cup car was, but I think it was good for that track that it did handle as well as it did. It was still a beast to drive, by all means, but it handled really well. Road America is just a really tough track. It's really flat. There's no camber in any of the corners, and it's really high speed straights, so like getting your braking zones right, like all the brake markers are set for sports cars and Indy cars, and you come in a stock car and you have to brake a couple markers before you even get to where the markers on the screen are, which is really challenging to get your braking points set up. But that's really all I have on road courses. They are fun, but they are a beast.
Yeah, without a doubt. I agree with Johnny on this subject. I don't really like them per se, but I do think that you need them in the league. Maybe just limit their races, but I mean, we have a good amount of races. Maybe just change up the tracks that we go to with the road courses. But all in all, I think you need them, and they're sometimes fun to drive. Moving on here to the next one, dirt racing, success or not. I'll start this one off. I'm all about the dirt. You guys know that. I think it puts on some of the best racing in our league. We saw that from the sprint car series we ran last year, and we're seeing it with the truck race that we just had on it. I was really hoping that they would add more tracks to the truck schedule when they were making the schedule, and they did, which I was happy for. And it's awesome that we have one dirt race in the chase playoff form of the truck series. Was really happy about that. I would love to see Dirt League, another one made probably next season, and I'm hoping that the 3 wide guys will learn to drive these things on dirt, and hopefully they'll get an interest in it, more of an interest in it, so that we'll have a successful league next season.
Yeah, I agree with Henshaw. We had some absolutely awesome racing on Sunday night on dirt. I thought Eldora was a good track to go to for our first dirt track of the year. A lot of us got our feet wet with dirt last year in the sprint car series. And, the sprint car series was interesting because the field was pretty spread out. I was pretty amazed at how close the field was together with the trucks. Now, Eldora is a track that's, fairly difficult to pass at. But we had a pretty good field, in a very competitive field. And I think that, speaks to the fact that, yeah, we can do these dirt races. We can go out there and sling these things sideways, and it is a lot of fun. I had so much fun running that sprint car last year that I was kind of bummed when they said that there wasn't going to be a dirt series this year. But, we have these 3 dirt races to go out and have some fun and get our cars dirty.
I think dirt is kind of like road course racing in a sense. A lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it, but in the end, I think the dirt race on Sunday was really, really awesome. I'm not particularly good at dirt. I prefer to stay on pavement. But that being said, I think I like learning from the fast guys on dirt. I like to learn what they do. I want to be good at it because I think it makes you a more complete driver, a better all-around driver. And as far as it being a success, yeah, I think it was awesome. I obviously wasn't in the race. I was just watching, but it was an amazing race. Watching people go 4 wide, do slide jobs, and get up on that cushion and hopping all over the place. It was really fun to watch, and I really want to be in a dirt race this season, and like one of the 2 remaining in the truck. So I might change one of my 2 remaining to do that because that was really fun looking.
Yeah, I'm with all you guys. I'm not gonna be biased here because I won, but I took a picture and I sent it to the committee. There was a point in time there's a 4 wide battle going into turn 1. I'm not too sure who was a part of it. We had one guy all the way at the bottom, 2 guys in the middle, and a guy up top. I feel like this race, when the season ends, could possibly be the most exciting race that we had all year in terms of competition. Thomas Morris went from 20-something and finished second. Peter, you spun out in your heat and ended up winning, and there was no caution. And there's guys racing up front that I haven't seen race up front in a while. I had a blast racing with Richard, and it was really good to see him up front and battling for the win. And there was a couple other guys. Wade Lear was on rails for a couple of those short segments, and he ended up getting a good finish. So I'm happy with dirt. I think it's going to be a success. Knoxville, I heard you guys saying that there's a pretty good setup for Knoxville. Williams Grove's going to be a little tough, but it's cool that it's the first race of the playoffs. I think it's going to be a success. Maybe we'll have another dirt league in the future, a dirt series. I mean, but these trucks, there are it's a lot of give and take in the trucks, and you got to be real consistent. And I think it put on a good show.
Well, even though my dirt race didn't last very long, I kind of wish it would have, because I do enjoy dirt. I had some internet problems in practice, and I was really concerned that I would be laggy in the heat race, so I started in the back, and that kind of messed up my rhythm, and then it didn't last much longer after that. But I do like learning the dirt side of racing. I'm definitely not the quickest, but I think I've been improving since I did the sprint car series last year. It's a lot of fun when you get the lap right, like you really feel like you accomplished something. And then sometimes it can just really bite you, and you think the car is about to do something, it just spins out on you, or just doesn't turn. So I'm looking forward to Knoxville. Hopefully I can make it into the main and do something there. But yeah, I think dirt's kind of fun.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with everybody else. I mean, I had a blast. The race went almost like Bathurst, a lot better than I was expecting. Yeah, had its few minor issues at times, but nothing that was major. Some very good racing. It had some very good racing with Chad Brown and like Johnny said, with Jordan Teal. I mean, not Jordan. With Wade Lear and Richard Hines. I mean, some great battles. But yeah, all in all, it's fun. I'm looking forward to Knoxville, because it's going to be a different track. You know, Eldor's wide and high banked. Knoxville's wider and flat, so it's going to be pretty cool to see. And then, you know, opening that first round of the playoffs with Williams Grove, which is almost like a Martinsville on dirt. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season and see what else happens on dirt.
Before you go on, Hanshaw, I thought the scenario that Sim Racing or SYM got dealt with, I thought their broadcast was awesome on Sunday night. I thought it was really, really, really good on how they did that broadcast of Eldora.
Yeah, I watched their broadcast the next day. I really enjoyed their coverage on the racing, and they did a really awesome job. I enjoyed it. And we're moving on to the last one. Isotech dominating the Cup Series. You guys, what is in your fridge? Peter?
Well, Michael wanted to talk about Bombshell.
You gotta screw the show up, man.
I'm not. You don't have to edit this out. I'm talking to you. Because Bombshell's dominating the Truck Series. So you can add Bombshell in there too. But you guys can go ahead.
All right, so I could go to my fridge and tell you what's in my fridge. You know, I think at Isotech, I've known Cameron and Drew for a long time. We've all raced each other. I've been racing them competitively off and on for probably 10 years now. And we started off with NR 2003, or NASCAR Racing 2003, and we made ourselves over to iRacing probably about 4 or 5 years ago for all of us. And, you know, just racing each other for that long, I think we have a really good team chemistry. There's that word. What does that mean? I have no idea. But, you know, we kind of get along with each other. We bounce ideas off of each other in practice, before qualifying and during the race. You know, we're always kind of trying to figure out what line's best, and we relay that information to each other, and it works well. You know, when we can go in there and if one of us is struggling just a little bit, say, hey, you're making an adjustment here, you know, you need to run a different line. Last night we had Drew come in, and Drew actually helped me quite a bit. He told me what line to be running and what Cameron was doing, because Cameron was just bad fast. I don't know what Cameron was drinking last night, but he was drinking something else because he was super fast last night. But it just kind of works out that way, being on the Isotech side. But, you know, whether I race for Isotech or whoever, my goal is to go out there and have fun and go for the checkered flag. Sometimes it pans out, sometimes it doesn't.
God, I think Peter just existing pisses me off to the point where I either have to beat him or I'm not going to ever win a race again. Like, when you have somebody faster than you, you pretty much have to get better. You step up your game, and yeah, basically, I've been racing with Peter for a long time, so I know him pretty well. I think anyone in here can say the same thing. When your teammate's beating you, that's the worst feeling in the world, because that's the first person you want to beat is your teammate. When you have someone else in front of you, it's like, okay, I can take my time to pass them, and then when it's like Peter or Jordan or Drew in front of me, I'm like, well, god damn it, I gotta get by them right now. So we're all really competitive with each other. Last night I probably made a bit of an ass out of myself at the race, but
Well, I
that
wasn't
when
going to
you
say
wanna
anything.
win.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm a dominating factor when it comes to Eisentek and wins or anything, but I've definitely learned a lot from Peter, Cameron, and Drew, and then race when he's around. And it's been a learning experience for me because I'm learning ovals as we go. A lot of these tracks I haven't raced at before the week of the race, and I start practicing during the week a little bit here and there. It's tough, with a full-time job and stuff, but it's been interesting to hear their feedback because at first they would tell me something and I would hear it, but I never could actually replicate it on the track. And now I'm getting to the point where I can every now and then kind of take some of their advice on like what line to run or something like that, and actually understand what they're saying, and it doesn't go over my head, and kind of take that and run with it. But it's been fun. I work with Peter. I've gotten to know him. We're pretty good friends, but I haven't raced with him near as long. I've only had iRacing for a little over a year, maybe a year and a half at this point. So learning iRacing has been my biggest challenge.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you guys. If you two don't have problems, you're going to be 1-2 or at least in the top 5 every race you guys go to. So it's tough. It's tough being in the field with you guys. I've been wondering where Drew's been. He's been MIA for the past month and a half. But you guys you're fast, and I don't know how to replicate it. Some tracks were a little closer, but if you guys don't have problems, man, you're up front. But I gotta talk about Jordan. Jordan, last year you were way off, but this whole entire season, I think you're the most improved driver out of anybody in this league, and you've only been here for maybe a year. And I'm gonna throw some people under the bus, but there's been people in here that's been here for 3-4 years, and they can't get a grasp on what you've kind of accomplished here. And I feel like they should take your model on how good you've improved over the past year and kind of learn from that, because there's guys in here that are really, really struggling right now that have over 200 races in this league.
Well, thanks, Johnny. Appreciate it. It means a lot.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I mean, I can't speak for the Cup side of things with Eisentek. I mean, from a Spectre last year when Thomas and OCR TV did it, it seemed like every time I would speak with Thomas or I would watch the broadcast, it's Peter Short or Cameron Rich up front, and just every week, week in and week out, it was Eisentek up front. And in the few races I've got to run with Peter, in the truck series and the few races with him, I mean, they're always up front. It doesn't matter. They can come in and run a one-off race and be up front. So I mean, that whole crew is clicking. And me and Jordan, we've raced around each other since the DD series. I mean, I'm new to the league this year, new and everything, but me and Jordan were always racing around each other in the DD series. So it's everybody in that group is competitive.
Some of those experiences were more bad than good, but I've learned a lot doing that.
Hope you guys are the best.
Yeah, you guys are all fast. You, I think, make all of us, want to be more like dedicated to it and like make us better drivers. So that's a plus for the league, and it's just good to have you guys here and whatnot. But moving on to the last segment of our show, the talking points. This topic seems to be a volcano waiting to erupt in 3 wide. the consistency and the officiating on track, and the calls being made after the races with docking drivers or suspensions or probations, etc. Your guys' thoughts on this?
I feel like the calls have been consistent, at least on the truck side. Like I said, I can't really speak for the Cup side of things because I'm not present during those. But on the truck sides, we've had two incidents this year of wrecking after the flag, and both of them have led to driver suspensions for a week and everything like that. So yeah, the fear that setting that precedence early, like we did week 1 or week 2 at Atlanta, that it would be hard to follow up and keep it that. I feel like that the consistency has been there. Yeah, in the truck series on Sunday night, we did have another incident with Johnny, with one of your guys, who I mean, I've raced with him all year. I mean, raced around him, but it seemed like he was kind of a man on wheel, on rails there, and just it could have been a product of dirt, or it could have been just a product of overdriving. But I mean, I watched him door a few people, spin a few people, and then finally kind of came to a head there and got booted or taken out of the server. But I mean, I felt like that was a little aggressive. But I've also been in situations where a driver hasn't been removed from the server and has gone to turn 1 and cleaned the entire field out. When they get a black flag or something like that they don't like. But yeah, I think consistency wise, at least on the truck side, it's been pretty fair and pretty consistent.
Yeah, I wanna, since I'm the eye in the sky guy for trucks, I just want to go ahead and apologize to every single one of you in here because I'm probably made a bad call or two, or whatever. It was pretty tough at Eldora. With the way we had to do the heats, it wasn't perfect. But shit. Corey puts up with all of our bullshit. We give him a plate full of crap, and he deals with it the best he can. Nothing's ever gonna be perfect. There's gonna be bad calls here and there. It's just comes with the deal. There was a questionable call on a Monday about something that probably shouldn't have been an issue, but it is what it is. As far as the consistency, I think the consistency has been pretty good. The first thing, there's always a post in the emails about, hey, he broke this rule, so this is the penalty. It's never like, it's never really opaque. You never are like, well, what did he do? Why did he get this penalty? It's always just, here's the rule. It's in the rule book. Go look for it yourself. So I think that's been pretty good. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
Oh yeah, I'm on both your guys' sides. I feel like penalizing people have been consistent on what they're getting penalized for, and Corey does a good job at saying what they're penalized for and what the penalty is for that week. Admins, Cam, I thought you did a good job on Sunday for the Eldora race. On Tate's deal, Tate's an aggressive driver. Tate's fast. He's way faster than me, and I've learned a lot from Tate. And he's really helped JTR as a whole. I think what rubs people the wrong way with Tate is he's fast, but he's also really not afraid to say whatever is on his mind, or and he's pretty brash. But he was probably aggressive, like he always is at Eldora, and he made a few mistakes. He's not trying to wreck people. He's just over aggressive sometimes. But I don't fault him for that. But like on the other standpoint, that we have guys back markers that are crashing all the time, and for some reason, and this is not just Sunday's race, but the whole entire season as a whole, we give them guys passes because they apologize every time they spin out. But I think that's an issue. But I'm beating a dead horse. So I think overall the fairness of the league is good, and it's pretty consistent.
I agree. I think a lot of the penalties that we've seen so far this year have been to the rule book, because there's a lot of stuff that is defined well in the rule book, and I think Corey's making consistent choices in the way he interprets the rule book when it comes to post-race penalties. I think the only time I've seen inconsistency this season was the Rusty Webb incident on Sunday night at Eldora in the heat versus Andrew Mickey in the Cup race. They were two separate incidents under two completely different circumstances. Rusty Webb pitted to get a fresh truck, during his heat race so he could fix his damage, while Andrew Mickey came into the surfer with a wrong number and in the wrong car, which was not 100% in his control. And Rusty Webb was able to finish the race with no penalty until after the race, at which point Corey explained the penalty, while Mickey got ejected from the race at on the grid. Yeah, I think that's the only inconsistency I've seen so far. Besides that, I think maybe you could have let Mickey run the race, maybe not give him points, something like that, kind of a post-race, but instead of just kicking him. But besides that, Corey is spot on with the way on all of his calls so far this season. I think he's called it the way it is, and I'm glad we have someone who can do that and stick up for himself.
Speaking of apologizing, I want to say I think Paul took the record this week for number of times coming over the radio apologizing for something that didn't even have to do with the wreck.
Yeah. Being an official in at a dirt track, I've learned you can't play favorites with anything, and you have to stand by the call you make, and you have rules and procedures for a reason, and you have to abide by them and follow them to the T. I think all of our calls this year have been pretty consistent and fair. Maybe some questionable, but just minor. But all in all, it's been pretty good this season so far. Moving on, should we open up non-charters to the truck series? Your guys' thoughts?
I'm gonna have to say no. Just because where we're at right now as a series with the number of people that we have running the series. Yes, the last few weeks have been lower car counts and stuff like that, but a lot of people aren't going to show up and run trucks. But we kind of had this talk a few weeks ago about the non-charter teams coming in there and causing issues, or just they're not necessarily causing issues, but kind of maybe getting in the way or something like that. But I feel like on the truck side, we're good to go where we're at. People may feel different about it, but I feel honestly, truthfully, like where we're at right now is the best. We've got a good group of people that race week in and week out. We got a consistent group of people week in and week out. Maybe it's something to explore in the future, but I think right now with just the chartered teams, we're doing pretty good.
I agree with that. On the truck side, we have currently a good group of people that come in week out. We enjoy racing with each other. The nice thing about racing with a whole bunch of charter drivers is you do get to know them week in, week out. The only issue that I do see with this is if someone wants to join the league and wants to, try us out, that could be charter money that we're maybe losing if they decide to go for a charter or, maybe race with us the following season. But they don't really have the opportunity to come in and try the league in the trucks. And I've seen it multiple times where someone is good maybe with the truck, but once they get to a cup car, they're unable to control it, or if they're bad with the truck, they're even worse in the cup car. So I think it does kind of remove the stepping stone of someone being entered into the league. But regardless of that, we have a good group of people, and I'm fine whichever way it goes.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I just, I think we had 30 something, 38 or 39 guys at Atlanta and Daytona, and then it's kind of dropped off into the high 20s. Full field is 40, so I think if you do your 3 races as non-charter, you should be allowed to run the races as long as you're clean. That's my biggest issue, is bringing in guys and they're not clean and they screw up the races. But there's guys that race in the Cup Series that probably want to do some Truck Series races right now, and they can't. And maybe they only want to do 3 races. They didn't feel like paying for a Truck Series charter. So maybe they could do 3 races, and we're not getting full fields. We're not getting 40 truck fields. So why not have them do a couple races?
Exactly what Johnny said is what I was gonna say is basically I think most of your non-charters were gonna be like Cup guys that didn't want to run trucks or whatever. Like that's kind of what I've been doing. I only wanted to run 3 anyway. I really don't enjoy racing the truck that much, except for like road courses or short tracks or whatever. I'm kind of a fan of the non-charters because we had a couple guys come through Cup last year that have turned out to be really good, loyal guys to the league. I think Chuck, that's how he started. I know not everybody's going to be another Chuck. You know, we might have some bad apples here and there, but you know, I like having that option of somebody to try out the league, and you know, maybe they will buy a charter, maybe they won't. You know, either way, if they want to run here, they will. If they don't, then you know, they just won't. It's not really going to change their mind whether it's like a charter or not.
All right, and moving on. What did you guys think of the track conditions for the dirt race at Eldora? How'd you like it from a driver standpoint and also a fan?
As a driver, I think the track was pretty good. I thought the setup was pretty drivable. It's the first time I've raced on dirt since iRacing added in the berm, and racing with that was pretty fun because you could get up there and you could feel the cushion and let the car kind of roll on it, slide on it when the track was wore in. It was kind of interesting on a clean track. I actually had not practiced on a clean track, and so qualifying was the first time I'd seen it, and it was kind of a shock to my system. I was like, oh, I hadn't seen this yet. So it was definitely something as a driver you had to kind of work on. Fortunately, I didn't get to see the track progress in the feature, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun to actually see the track progress, and I wish more tracks progressed as much as a dirt track would or does, because it's just a lot of fun to kind of move around and adjust.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Peter there. I mean, we took the green in the heat race, and we had the first heat race, so it was a little bit better than what it was in the second. It was awesome to be able to sit there and hit that berm, and that berm just put you right back in the groove and keep on going. I've run a few dirt races, but never where the track was that, you know, that ran in or rubber. I guess you can't really even say rubbered in. That you actually hit the berm and it just sends you right back down. I mean, you could almost ride up on the berm and put your bumper over top the wall. It felt like. So from a driver standpoint, it made it a blast. And then as the truck race, as the main went on, it made it fun. You know, the track changed and you saw the bottom line kind of go away and everybody kind of working their way up through the top. And I mean, shoot, that last restart, I mean, it made it awesome because everybody was fighting for that high line. There was no slinging it down low and trying to slide in front of anybody. It was the high line. So it made it pretty fun on those last couple restarts.
Yeah, I thought everything was. I thought that was a perfect condition you could do in a dirt track. The heats were fun. You could make the bottom work in the early part of the heats on the restarts and stuff, and even in the feature. That inside lane wasn't that bad. As the track wore on, obviously the high line was the place to be, but I thought from a driver standpoint, I thought it was really competitive, and we had that long run there halfway through the race where we were getting into lap cars or lap trucks, and I mean, it felt like a real dirt track, hitting that slower lap traffic. I don't think we could really do anything different for Knoxville, but it was definitely fun. And from a fan standpoint, I don't know if you watched the race on the broadcast. I'm sure you had to be pretty excited watching it.
I can only speak from a fan standpoint, but I think it was awesome. In the heats, the dirt was piling up on the wall, and people were sliding up, hitting the wall, and climbing it. It was pretty cool to watch. And there's some slide jobs. I know Peter did a couple disgusting ones that actually, it was like, oh my god, I had some of that in the main too. People diving it in and sliding up to the high side. It was almost like a dirt race, But for me, I don't know much about dirt, but it was cool to just see how the track changed and how people were changing their lines and their driving because of it. I particularly watched Kyle and Johnny because they're pretty good at dirt. So I really enjoyed watching them kind of adjust their driving to the track, and I actually learned a lot from it too.
Yeah, it's definitely a blast to drive on. I love it. I think the track conditions for the heat race, I was in the second heat, and I mean it was really fun to drive. I mean it was slicked off, bottom to top basically, and then you had the 10-foot high cushion next to the wall, and that was just insane. I've never raced on a track with that big of a cushion, but it definitely disciplined you as a driver, and you really had to be careful and hit your marks every lap. And just from example, it got Paul, it got me. You really had to be careful, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. And for qualifying, it was a fresh track. It's totally different. You have to drive it totally different. I think it's actually a little more difficult. But for the feature, I mean, it progressed, all throughout the race, and I like how you have to search for, a faster groove, or if, like one's not working, then you go to the bottom, middle. I mean, you could really go anywhere in the feature. I made a lot of passes up top and also on the bottom when you can. It took a, little more time to make passes on the bottom, but I mean you could, and they were there, and I think it was fun, from a driver standpoint, and for a fan, I got a couple people that watch the broadcast live, or they just go back and rewatch it the next day or something, but they told me that they really enjoyed it, and they would love to see more dirt racing in 3 wide. But Whitley, did you have a topic you wanted to talk about? I think we skipped over yours.
Oh yeah, I mean, kind of on the Eisentek side, it may seem a little biased here, but it seems like on the truck side, we've kind of had bombshells kind of come in and taken over this year. Not necessarily like Eisentek has, not rolling off the wins, but with consistency. Myself and Eric Mickey, and also I mean Paul Ross mixed in there as well. It just seems like we've kind of stayed up 1, 2, and 3 in the points, kind of battling back and forth there. But with only 2 wins across 3 drivers there, me and Paul, it's been more of a consistency type thing. I have 5 top 10s, but Eric has 4 top 5s. It's just been one of those type of deals. Because in the truck series we're looking at 6 races and 6 winners. So on that side, we're not dominating the win category, but from the consistency standpoint, I think we're kind of working as being a team to be threatened with going down the stretch.
Yeah, I think consistency in the truck series is huge, especially if you want to be first or second in points. Don't they get buys or something?
Yes. You get to miss Williams Grove, Coda, and Kansas.
Yeah,
well,
so
you
that's
don't miss
huge.
it, but you don't
you get
have to
free
worry
pass.
about it.
Yeah, and I think obviously Eric has a pretty decent points lead. He's had success at every single track, and that's that's tough, especially when you go from a super speedway to a dirt track to a road course. But yeah, you guys have certainly really done good. Mickey has I'm looking at the points now. He's got a 106-point lead over Chuck, and Chuck's in that final 12th spot. So it's good to be consistent.
Yeah, that definitely Eric and Paul and you, Whitley, have just been super consistent so far. And I've had some bad luck against me, and I think a lot of the field has. First few races have been kind of tumultuous, kind of up and down for a lot of people, and you three are just grinding it out with top fives and top tens, and that's what you got to do, and that's how you build points leads. So, we'll see what happens when we get to the back end of the series because of how the playoffs work. I think it's kind of a interesting playoff format that we have going on this year. But definitely that first round bye is important, and I know that's what Eric's shooting for. He really wants that first round bye.
Is it only first place?
No, first and second.
Yeah, first and second.
I think I want it more than him because he can run Coda. I don't want to go to a damn road course and have to worry about making it through.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how this playoff system works for the trucks. It's not winning you're in, I don't think, is it?
No.
No.
Top 12.
So it's more akin to the old point system in that regard, where you actually get rewarded for being really super consistent. So I don't know, maybe that's having an impact on how people race.
And then the playoffs are all different too.
Yeah.
How they group.
Odds and evens are divided up for the second round there, or for both rounds, I guess.
Yeah. Personally
Pretty cool to
being,
see.
sorry, Cameron, but personally being someone who's currently not in the top 12 and being one of the first people out of the top 12, man, I was kicking myself for trying to pull that slide job so early on Todd because that wasn't all him. He didn't, get into the back of me. I kind of gave him nowhere to go and I pulled the slide job on him. And that ended my race, and being outside of the top 12 is kind of unnerving at this present moment. So just got to find the consistency that Bombshell's got because I don't have it right now. Not on the truck side.
Yeah, I'm looking at points. 12th through 19th are separated by 20 points, so it's super close. And I know we got a whole bunch of races left, but that's pretty close gap.
Yeah, and we got our mine and Eric's teammate Kurt Crum is in that hunt there. So it'd be pretty awesome to put all three of us. I guess that's kind of a team goal there. Is you can put all three of your drivers in the playoffs, and I think that's our goal right now. Me and Eric were talking about it last night. If we can get Kurt in the playoffs, that's a huge boost for confidence for our team.
All right, I think that's going to do it. In closing, this week in 3 Wide Cup Series, they're going to roll the dice and test their luck at the city that never sleeps, Las Vegas. That will be on Monday the 14th, and then the trucks are off this week. Boo.
Another off week.
I feel like we just came off one.
No, another off week for the trucks, but they will return
Where do we go
Sunday the
after?
20th at Iowa.
And then we get another 3 weeks off, and we're back to Knoxville.
Yeah, something like that.
We'll
Oh,
resume
man.
our season in July.
2019. Oh, man. But
Like the real truck series.
yeah. Oh, man. But thanks to everyone at 3 Wide Racing and 3 Wide TV. Special thanks to Carlos and R.K. Productions. And thanks to all of our fans for tuning in and listening to us talk about racing. We appreciate it. On behalf of myself, Johnny Thomas, Michael Whitley, Cameron Rich, Peter Short, Jordan Teal, and Carlos Acosta. Thanks, everybody, and have a good one.